Hey, thanks for tuning in to another show on Simple Money. Just a quick kind of fun conversation between someone older like me and someone younger like my son David,
Hello.
where we talk about money, life, mortgage, and stuff that we think is interesting, and we hope you do too. All right, we're gonna try something a little different today. We haven't done this before, so we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fun. But we're gonna do fun with charts, and I post stuff that no one cares about and looks at sometimes online, but I find them interesting, and I think they're interesting conversation starters, and maybe you will too. And I thought that David and I could chat through some of these and see if we could, kind of get something out of these. So let's bounce over to the first one here, and we'll go through a couple of these and spend a little time. Can you see that, David?
I can see it.
So what's this chart say? The combined value of U.S. homes gained 2.5 trillion in 2024 to reach almost 50 trillion bucks. And look at that, just continuously going up and up and up and up and up. So, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. I mean, right away it means that this is echoing a lot. I don't know. Can you hear it on your side?
I can't hear it, but that's okay. Maybe you're getting, you want to do your,
Yeah, I'm getting it.
whoops. Look at that. I put an arrow on it now. That's pretty cool.
I think your echo cancellation is not off.
Okay. Let me go fix that. So while we're going here, hang on a quick sec. Where can I get it? Well, you keep talking. I'm going to mute myself for a moment.
Cool. Yep. What does this chart mean to me? Well, one, it means that there's a tremendous amount of wealth inside of real estate inside the U.S. and that number two, I'm always so surprised about the amount of wealth, like the dollar amount. Trillion is always just a crazy figure to be throwing around. $50 trillion of combined value of U.S. homes. It's just it's hard to wrap your head around that large of a number. Um, and then that plays into when we talk about wealth and then the U.S. budget and blah 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 and debt, and it's just crazy numbers that are hard to think about.
Here.
Here we go. I can hear you now.
We have to do some editing here. So I'm not sure that, am I still getting echo cancellation?
You're good now. Yeah, I can't hear. I can't hear myself.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing to think about, the real estate. I mean, the big takeaway for me in the reality, this was just over, let me go back to the chart again, because I don't know that I pointed this out very well. But this is talking about literally from January of 2000 to December 2024. So you're talking about a period of 4 years where you went from 10 trillion to almost 50 trillion, right? So just in 2024, went up $2.5 trillion. So I mean, there's something called the wealth effect, right? And so people feel when they feel wealthier, what kind of things they tend to do?
Spend more money.
Got it, right? So they spend more money and they get better about things, which can be good or bad, just depending on where you're at. Right. So that's potentially a good thing. But the reality is that we believe that over time real estate is going up in value, and that's ultimately a good thing. All right. Let's look at another one. I thought you might like this one. Millennials now own more than 20% of the U.S. home market. Right. And so if you look at these different tranches here, you got the silent generation, which is people that were born in the early, 100, not 100 years ago. Well, yeah, 100 years ago, give or take. You got boomers, which are, into they're at 61 and older these days, 61 to I think mid 80s, give or take. You got Gen X. Well, I'm the oldest Gen X, and goes down about to 15, 20 years younger than myself. So somewhere in the late 40s to right at 60 now. That millennials would be the next generation. So. What do you think about that? Did you know it was 20%?
I thought it was less than 20%, to be frank. So that's surprising, and that's, I think, a good thing. It's interesting that I see a lot of statistics out there on the home market, how it's so hard for younger families or couples to break in. And the average, first-time home buyer is now like 40-something years old.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But then again, now I'm looking at the little note there, what is defined as a millennial, and 1981 or later, that's puts them at 40 years old. There you go.
So you're right, and I think just in the last 5 years, there's been an acceleration. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, in that period, so people are finally getting into the marketplace, and this is a good thing, right? We want people to, own homes, and it helps businesses, it helps communities, it helps create stability. There's all sorts of great reasons to own a home, and so forth. So that's good. Anyway, another fun one.
I think that's
All
great.
right. Any other comments on that one, Dave?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Let's go look at another one here. And again, these are kind of random, so there's no theme to what I'm doing. These are just ones I happened to download today that I'm gonna be posting on some social media stuff at some point, or maybe not. I don't know yet, but I thought it'd be fun to chat through them. So there's been a lot of conversation in the marketplace, in the last. Certainly in Southern California, unfortunately, because of the devastating fires that took place in Los Angeles and Southern California, there's been a lot of focus on homeowners insurance and the expense of it. But it's not unique to California. I mean, many markets are getting more and more expensive,
Yeah.
and so we see that just this increase in the premium cost over time, and it reminds me to tell people that. If you live or if you own a home, right, and most people want to live indoors, people want to have a roof over their heads, they don't want to camp out, every day. That it costs money. Even if you have no mortgage, right, you still have the obligations of the house. You have property taxes. You have homeowners insurance. It's getting more and more expensive, kind of all the time. So anyway, so what's this? So this is the increase, right? So look at the last couple of years, David.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of see this and are kind of tuned in with this, right? Because we see people buying homes and have kind of noticed the increase in premium over the past couple of years. That being said, it's interesting to see it in chart form, and that it actually is going up $200 plus the last 2 years, which is pretty more than I thought. But nonetheless, I assume that it'll continue to go at that rate, if not higher, after all the fires and insurance stuff that we're seeing firsthand from clients and friends and family and whatnot. So it's, yeah, as you see down there, it's the liability of homeownership. When we do talk about that, you're always going to have some sort of expense if you own a home, even if your mortgage is paid off. And every now and again, we do come across folks that don't have insurance when their home is paid off, and it's always like, well, you're leaving a lot of risk there,
Oops.
because what if something like the fires or something like that does roll through your area and then your home is destroyed? And we already heard some stories from folks and that let their premium lapse or whatever it was, and that's going to be a whole other beast to try to deal with. So yeah, it's
Yeah. Very simple reminders. Insurance, feels like a necessary evil, and I realize most people don't want to pay for insurance, or they don't feel like they. It's a weird investment, right? So you put money into insurance, and you kind of hope and pray you never have to use it.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird feeling kind of thing, right? So you put hundreds of dollars into these policies, and then you just, in some ways, hope and pray you never have to use it, and you never get your money back, right? Which is why it's a huge money maker for insurance companies. It's one of the biggest money makers of all the financial industries out there.
Yeah.
But I was just looking at this, so it's almost doubled, right? So you went from 1,300 back in 2015 to 2024 to 2,300 essentially. So it went up about $1,000. So not quite 100% increase. Maybe that's a 90% increase. But look at the acceleration just since 22 and 23.
Yeah.
That's what it's moving so fast. And if that continues, this chart's just going to just go straight up.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if it continues in this trajectory or what. I mean, you kind of hear that newer homes, or if you're doing upgrades to your homes, there's a lot of requirements around certain safety and fire stuff. So, maybe at a point it, levels off because newer homes are being built that are, safer and have the proper fire protections or whatever in place.
Yeah.
We'll see.
This is just a fun one. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Yeah, just a fun little thought in the middle of the conversation there.
Perfect.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is a good one. All right, so what's that term everyone has that they say how many people are turning 62 every day? You may have heard that one. You know the answer to that one, Dave?
It's a large number. I don't know the exact number of people turning 62, But
Since I've been in the mortgage business, which has been 30 plus years, I think people have been saying every year that 10,000 people are turning 62 every year. Now this is people turning 65, so it's not quite the same. And this chart shows a bunch of different countries: China, the U.S., Japan, Germany, Italy, and so forth. And it shows the age of 65. And it shows 11,548 turning every single day are turning 65. I actually looked up the numbers for turning 62, and it was pretty close. It was a little bit over 10,000 because I thought maybe it was a fake number, and so it was like I think 10,480 or somewhere in that range. But look how many people are turning 65 in China.
Yeah, I didn't. It's a lot. It's quite a few people.
Now, granted, China and the U.S. have much larger populations than any of the other countries on there, so it would make sense that there's more of us turning those ages. But that being said, there's still a large number of people that are aging in our population, and that we can help, right, with different products in the mortgage industry. And thinking back to our 2 or 3 slides ago, when we talked about the value of real estate, what do the lot of people have?
A lot of home equity,
right? And what do they probably don't have in many cases?
Well, they probably don't have a proper long-term care policy, or maybe proper assets, or whatever it is, right? There's usually gaps in people's wealth plans.
Yeah, and we're not here to talk about that today, but there's a lot of real estate equity, and a lot of people getting older, and that's okay. That's a good thing, right? There's a lot of wisdom out there that's being imparted on the rest of the world. And so there's opportunities to help those people every day. So that's kind of an interesting one. And I think I got one more. Oh, there might be one more after this one, but I think it's it. The Tooth Fairy Index. Have you ever heard of the Tooth Fairy Index?
I have not.
So it's really funny. I didn't have it here, but there was another chart that showed by California state. I should actually try and find it because it was really funny. It showed by the how much people in each state, the Tooth Fairy seems to be discriminating against certain states, right? The Tooth Fairy, he, she, or otherwise, seems to be giving different money in different states. And it would, Dave, guess what the state that had the highest Tooth Fairy payment for a lost tooth was?
I'm going to guess California.
And it was. And you know what the heck it was? Just pick an arbitrary. Well, looking at this chart. Okay, so let's look at this. This is a national average, right? So the green bar is the Tooth Fairy gift national average, right? And so this goes back to 2001. We got 2014, 15. You see it here through the last financial crisis, and you'll see right here, right? This S&P went down the financial crisis, and even the Tooth Fairy gifts went down a little bit. But this is $2, and for some reason it goes here to $4 in 2014. Then it goes to $6 in 2022, and this is national average. And then what happens?
Yeah, well, it went down. That's interesting.
Yeah, right. But so it peaked at $6.
Are we thinking leading indicator here, or what?
Well, it's interesting how it flows with the S&P. Now, that does not mean they're correlated,
right,
necessarily. But maybe they are in some weird sort of way, because it goes back to what we talked about just a couple of slides ago, which was the wealth effect, right? So the wealth effect of people feeling wealthy, right? And so potentially maybe the gifts from the Tooth Fairy, maybe the Tooth Fairy was feeling wealthier too and was feeling good, but all of a sudden here is in 23, 24, not quite as much. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think you were going to ask me how much do I think that. And
California. So what was California? So California, just easy hint, it was more than all these.
I was going to guess $5 before I saw this chart, but now that I know it's clearly going to be higher than that, I'm going to guess a crispy $20 bill.
It's not that high, but and you, of course, were never so lucky as to get $20. You might have gotten 50 cents or $1 if you were lucky. I don't even remember. But the Tooth Fairy was not always as generous in our household. But in any case, it was about $8.62.
Okay, wow.
So it was, it's now $3 above the national average in California, and I don't know why that is, but obviously the Tooth Fairy is more generous here in California. All right, and I think, is there one more here? We're not going to talk about that one. All right, that has to do with AI, and we'll save that for a different time. Anyway, so this was fun with charts. What do you think, Dave?
I liked it. Charts have an interesting way of, presenting some data, and that could be applied to some fun things, as we just saw with the tooth fairy. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's lessons in there, and there's lessons for investing and money and life and all the things we like to talk about. So maybe we'll probably maybe we'll do that again once in a while. It'd be kind of fun. So, all right, any final words, David?
Not really any final words, I guess. See if you're feeling the wealth effect.
See if you're feeling the wealth effect, right? And if you are feeling the wealth effect, I would just add to what David said. If for some reason you're feeling super generous and, hey, we're going to go, instead of fast casual on Friday night, we're going to high end, restaurants I'm talking about, maybe just, is that real? Is it real money, or is it wealth effect money? You just feel wealthier, right? So just be aware. Be aware. That's all it is. So, all right, great. Thank you, everybody.